Hi, my name is Alan Stead. I'm here with Hope Tech. What I'm hoping to do is go through a tutorial on how you can create an Alexa skill, ideally from scratch as much as I can, even though I have accounts created already. We'll try to go through that. And what we're going to do is create a skill that lets you know where the nearest wildfire is to your location. And then what I'm hoping to do is create some other different tutorials on specific aspects that you might want to do for other Alexa skills and other components. So one of the first things I'm going to show you how to do is create an Alexa developer console an account. So if we just open a web browser and you search for Alexa developer console, it comes up right at the top of the search list, developer.amazon.com. And I'm already logged in, but let me actually try and log off and then see what it looks like. So this is what it'll look like. You're gonna want to create your Amazon account. I'm already there, so I'll log in. And then this will be showing the different skills that you have. There's two that I've published that are live, so you can see those. And then a third that I was going to start working on. But what you're going to want to do is, when you first start out, right here, this blue button, create a skill. So you're going to want to click that. And then you're going to want to give it a name. Now, I'm going to redo the fire monitor skill. So I'll just call it fire monitor 2. And for the language, I'll switch it to US English. You'll notice if you switch it to UK, there's different options available. I just found it's easiest just start with this and make sure everything's working. And then if you want to mess around with the language, you can as well. For the model, I've just gone with custom. And then for the method to host your backend, I've chosen Node.js. Now, let me explain a little bit about front end and back end. So the way the Alexa skill works, there's the part of it that runs on your Alexa or Echo device. That's the front end. When you initiate that skill, it's going to then communicate to a server somewhere to actually do the work. And that's the back end of your code. So there's two pieces to it. So this part's the back end that you're configuring here with the Alexa hosted Node.js. The part we're specifically working on the developer.amazon.com, that's your front end piece. So now we'll go ahead and hit create skill. And then you can choose a template for your skill. I've just gone with Hello World skill. You can choose some of these other ones as well, or experiment with different things. For now, I've just gone with that. And then continue with skill or with template, and it'll go through and create it for you. Okay, looks like it's done. This is the main window for working on your skill, at least the front end part of it. There's a couple things that pop up here. The build was successful. It's going to ask you to change the skill invocation name, and then it's also, there's a walkthrough as well using this tutorial. If you want, you go through those as well. First of all, let's go through and change that invocation name. That's the first thing here on the skill builder checklist. And that was the first thing it prompted us to do as well. So here on the left, we'll just go to invocation. And then here's the skill invocation name. This is what the user is going to say to launch your skill. So there's a couple kind of rules here. It's got to be 2 or more words. It can only contain lowercase characters. So we're just going to call it Fire Monitor. And then we'll go ahead and save the model. Okay. Then we'll just kind of go through down this list. This interaction model, this is how you're going to interact with your skill. There's a lot of Amazon information about writing out the conversation that you want the user to have with your skill. And there's a lot of benefit to that. The first thing here in the interaction model is the intents. You can think of this as functions or tasks for your skill, right? Here's a default list. There's a cancel, a help, stop, hello world intent, and now this is the main one. Navigate home, fallback intent. The main one we'll look at is the hello world intent. So this will be the different things you want your skill to do. Since it's ours is a fire monitor, pretty much the only thing we're going to do is have the user initiate the skill by either saying open fire monitor or ask a question like, where is the nearest wildfire? Something like that. So first of all, let's give this a more meaningful name rather than hello world. So maybe we'll call it look up fire. For the utterances, this is exactly what you want the user to say to launch this intent or this task. Let's start by deleting all of the existing ones, and then think of what a user might want to say. So let's just brainstorm here. Where is the nearest fire? We'll click plus. And then how about where is the closest fire? Right? You got to think about all the different things somebody might say or how they might say it. And you can go tweaking this, adding stuff later. Where is the smoke coming from? Is there a fire close by? So hopefully this gives you an idea of what this should look like and what the purpose of these intents and utterances are. Down below here, under the intents and utterances, you'll see something called slots. This is like variables for your utterances and intents. We're not going to use any of that right now. We might come back and revisit that later. The next thing we should probably look at is down here in the tools, the permissions. And this lets your skill know which permissions you're going to be requesting and needing. For ours, we are going to want to know location. Now, you can either get the full address, or what I'm going to start with is just the country, region, and the postal code. So let's make sure that's selected so that the user knows they're going to have to give that. The difference between device address and location services is location services is for if it's a mobile device that moves around, so you can get more specific location. There's also some other things here. If you need to set timers, reminders, work with lists, get the customer's name, all that kind of stuff. But for us, we are just going to go with the postal code and the region. And let's go back to up here to custom. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the code piece or the back end piece of this. So let's click on over to code. And you can see the code here. If you want, you can edit right in here. I found sometimes it's a little tricky if I want to add other packages. I'm sure there's easier ways to do it. I just found it nicer to develop in an IDE like Visual Studio. And that's also what I'm used to, so that's how I did it. You can download here your skill, your code, or you can look at this one, Code with Offline Tools. So we can go ahead and click that. And you can use the command line interface, or you can do, down here it says Visual Studio Code. So let's click on Learn More, because I think there's going to be some things we're going to have to install. Okay, prerequisites. We're going to need an Amazon developer account, which we've got. Visual Studio Code, version 1.22 or later. So let's go grab that. And then Git, which is source control. So if you don't have that, you're going to need that as well. Visual Studio Code. So download for Windows, which is what I'm using. And it should be downloading down here. And then once it's done, I'll open it up. And I'll accept the agreement, the default location, and just all the default stuff. And I'll go ahead with the install. While that's going, I'll switch over here to the Git website, and I'll download 2.28 for Windows. I've already got this installed, but I'll just click through this anyways to show you what it might look like. It might be a little different though on your end. I got a authorization pop-up from Windows. Okay, so we'll just click through next. Next. Here, some different options. If you're familiar with Git, you can look through. Otherwise, just click the recommended. This is for how to connect to remote machines. Again, I would probably just click next through all of this unless you know what you're looking for, and if you have a specific preference. Again, Git is for like tracking your source control changes. So as you go changing your code, it'll keep snapshots for you. So if all of a sudden something's broken, you can easily go back. If you want to work with somebody else, it makes that easier as well. There's a lot of benefits to using source control. It's also good to put on your resume. Looks like it was able to just install on top of itself. So I already had it. Okay, we don't need to launch it or view anything. And let's go back to our Visual Studio Code setup. So let's launch that. And we're done with this Git window now as well. Okay, I'll move this in here so you can see it. Okay, so here is Visual Studio Code. I had already been playing around with it, so let me remove this to start from scratch. Okay. The other thing we're going to need to get is the Alexa Skills Toolkit. in Visual Studio Code. So you can install this by going to the Visual Studio Code Marketplace. So let's click on that. And then you would just click Install. If you want to open this in Visual Studio Code, it should come back here. And then I've already got it installed, but you should be able to have an install button. Actually, I could probably do uninstall and then install. Okay, so then I've got it installed, and you'll notice down here you've got the Alexa Skills Toolkit right there. Okay, so now what I want to do is get a copy, and I'm done with these extra windows. And there's other tutorials probably you can go through. And I'm actually done with this. You can probably go through here. There is another way to get to it though. So let's go back to our Visual Studio Code. And let's click down here on our Alexa Skills Toolkit. And you can download and edit a skill. You can also create a skill from here. So let's download and edit the skill. And then I believe I had to log in. So once you're logged in, you should see your skills listed here. So I'm going to go with Fire Monitor 2. And then this next pop-up is a folder where you want to store it. So I've got a software projects folder, and then specifically Alexa projects. And so I'm going to put it in this Alexa folder. And down here you can see it's downloading the skill. Okay, looked like it was successfully cloned and added in. So here's the contents of my skill. Index.js is the main code. So that's the file I'm going to look at. I had actually tweaked some stuff already to play around with it.